Getting down here fairly quickly. As you may remember from last year, we like to get you guys together this time each year, talk a little bit about the classes that are available to you so that you can plan ahead and start thinking about what you would like to do in the coming years. So a couple of goals for today. So obviously, one of them is to help you understand the different types of diplomas that are available to you, as well as what the requirements are for you to graduate. As you are, some of you I know are already taking high school credit-bearing classes, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But some of you, next year will be the first time that you're going to start taking classes that are going to count toward your graduation requirements. So we want to make sure you have a good understanding of that, because also next week when we have our counselor block, you're going to be spending some time thinking about the classes you want to take and putting that together a little bit, not just for next year, but really for all 4 years. We want you to kind of review a 4-year plan and get an idea, making sure that you've got room in your schedule over the next 4 years for all of the things that that are important to you, as well as the requirements. We're going to talk about specifically classes that are available to you guys next year, and then we're just going to go over some dates and deadlines, and we'll talk briefly about the 21st Century Scholars Program. So first of all, Indiana has different types of diplomas. How many of you have heard of a Core 40 diploma? You sound a little bit familiar? Okay, so a Core 40 diploma is going to be that diploma that a lot of people start with. It's going to require 4 years of English. So you see up here it says 8 credits. Who can explain to me what a credit is? Yeah. Yeah, so it'll kind of help you prepare for whatever you want to do for after graduation. It'll factor into your GPA, but a credit is basically a point that you are going to get each semester when you pass a class. So we have a fall semester and a spring semester. So where we see 8 credits, it means you're going to get 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring, as long as you pass that English class. So if you do it all 4 years, that's how you get to 8. Make sense? Okay, then we've got math. We see 6 credits. So we've got, and those have to be specific credits. So you need 2 credits in Algebra 1, 2 credits in Algebra 2, and 2 credits in geometry. And then there's a couple of extra fun rules with math, is that you have to earn 6 math credits while you are in high school. So if you are taking Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, you are not technically in high school yet. So it will meet the checkbox that says yes, Algebra 1 as one of those credits, but it's not going to count toward the 6 that you have to earn in high school. So if you started with Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, you can't just do Algebra 1, Algebra 2, geometry, and then not take any more math. You would still have to take more math. Okay? And then also you have to be enrolled in a math or a quantitative reasoning class every year. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what that means when we get further into the presentation. You've got 6 credits of science. 2 of those have to come from biology. 2 of those can come from either ICP, chemistry, or physics. And then the other 2 can be the science class of your choice. Then for social studies, you've got 6 credits required there. 2 have to come from either geography or world history. 2 have to come from U.S. history, 1 from government, and 1 from econ. Okay? You've also got 2 credits of PE required. So we've had you taking PE all the way through up until now. In high school, PE is just PE. It's not combined with health. And you've got to take 2 credits. So how many years is that? 1. Yep, good job. So 1 year of PE, and then you will have 1 credit of health that will just be health. So you're not going to go back and forth between the 2. You'll have all PE, and then you would have all health. Okay? Then you've also got a class called Preparing for College and Careers. Some of you may have taken Exploring College and Careers, so that's kind of like a level 1 class. Preparing College and Careers is the high school equivalent of that. So everybody's going to take 1 credit of that. And then we're also going to have everything else is going to be considered an elective. So anybody know what an elective is? Yeah, so elective classes are the classes that you choose. They're not required in a specific area, so something that really interests you. So for example, you might really like art. So art, you may take a lot of elective classes in art. Maybe you want to be in FFA and you want to be in the ag program. You may take a lot of classes in ag. Those would be considered your electives. And basically at the end, we have to get to a total of 42 credits to graduate with a Core 40 diploma. Okay, the next diploma we're going to talk about briefly is an academic honors diploma. You're going to see a lot of things look a little similar to the Core 40, but there's a few extra pieces to it. So in English, 8 credits, same as the Core 40. Okay, for math, the honors diploma, the academic honors diploma requires 8 credits in math. Do you remember what it was for Core 40? 6. Yeah, so you've got to have basically an extra year of math if you want to do an academic honors diploma. Okay, same credits in science, social studies, PE, and health. Same preparing for college and careers credit. The 2 other additional things that you've got here are fine arts. So for Western Boone, that's anything in basically the art or the music department, or yearbook will count as fine arts. We need 2 credits there, so 1 year of some kind of an art or music class. Okay, then you have to have world language. So for us, the one we offer here in the building is Spanish. So you would need 3 years of Spanish to get 6 credits if you decided to go for an academic honors diploma.
Can't you do self-taught languages? I've heard people doing that.
Okay, what do you mean?
So I've heard of some people who teach themselves sign language or French because they didn't want to take Spanish.
Okay, so the question was, can you do kind of like self-taught languages? They're not officially self-taught. We've got a few options that could be available where you would learn a language online and have an official course. But I'll tell you, it is harder typically than trying to learn a language with an actual live teacher in a classroom. But it is an option, so if that's something you are interested in, you can talk to one of us if Spanish really isn't your thing. Okay? And then you will have electives here as well. It kind of depends on the other classes that you're choosing. But basically for the academic honors diploma, you're looking at a total of 47 credits instead of 42. And then there's a few additional things that you have to do. So first of all, everything that counts toward those 47 credits has to be a C- or higher. And your overall GPA has to be at least a 3.0. Anybody know what letter grade that is? Yep, that's a B. So you need to have a B average, and every class has to be a C- or higher. Now it sometimes will happen, maybe you have a bad semester or a class you really struggle with, and maybe don't get that C-. It doesn't have to completely eliminate the honors diploma for you. What will basically happen in that case is you would have to go back and retake that class to get a better grade. Okay? So one low grade is not gonna be the end of the diploma for you. Okay? Additionally, you have to complete one of the things on the bottom of that list. And so basically, those involve college level type courses. There are ways that you can earn the honors diploma. The bottom 2 are the SAT and the ACT. Those are going to be college admissions tests. The scores here are pretty high, so we don't typically use that for honors diploma. Most students are going to earn their honors diploma through using AP and dual credit courses. And we're going to talk about what those are in a few minutes. But if you take either 2 AP, 2 dual credit, or 1 of each. You can pretty much meet the requirement for this. So again, we'll come back and explain what that means in a couple of minutes. Okay, then there's also a technical honors diploma. Tech honors looks, again, a lot like Core 40. It's the same English, math, social studies, science, PE, health, and preparing for college and careers requirements. The extra piece here is you will see under college and career pathway, you need 6 credits there. So that's going to be a specific group of classes kind of in one elective area. So for example, is anybody in here taking like Mr. Gray's engineering and tech class? Okay. Has he talked to you guys about Project Lead the Way or Intro to Engineering? Have you heard him talk about that? Okay. So there are 3 engineering classes. So we have Intro to Engineering Design, Principles of Engineering, and Digital Electronics. If you took all 3 of those classes, they are full year classes, so a credit in the fall, credit in the spring, that would be 6 credits in a specific college and career pathway. So that would meet that requirement. So just so you're kind of aware, we've got pathways in ag, we've got the engineerings, we've got radio TV, we've got a lot of programs outside of our building. So we can do a lot with that, kind of find, once we know what your area of interest is, we'll look and see if there's any pathways available to you. Okay, and then this is going to look a lot like the academic honors diploma, where it's got those extra requirements. So again, all the 47 credits need to be C- or higher. You've got the 3.0 GPA, so that's the B average overall. And then there's extra pieces on the bottom of this one as well. So one of those, you have to complete one from that first category, which is either 6 dual credits in your pathway area. So for example, those engineering classes, you can earn 3 college credits in each of those classes. So you could get up to 9 college credits for taking each of those, all 3 of those engineering classes. So that would check that first box. Okay. The second one there is a pathway. Oh, I'm sorry, the first one says a pathway designated industry-based certification. So that's going to be something meaningful in your career path. So for example, maybe you do a fire and rescue program and you are out and you earn a particular certification for maybe hazardous materials, maybe some kind of a safety certification. A lot of those different things will meet that industry recognized credential. So that would be a way you can check that first box. So most of our programs have something there for you. And then you also have to complete one of the following. The first 3 there are some different tests that we can give, but more people will actually do what is at the bottom. The bottom 5 are the exact same as the ones from the academic honors diploma, which means it's also very possible for you to get both an academic and a technical honors designation for your diploma. So we've got plenty of students who do both. So again, we'll talk with you about that based on what your interests are. Okay, and then I want to spend a few minutes talking about graduation pathways. How many of you have heard of I-STEP and I-LEARN? Everybody gets really excited about that, right? Okay. Previously, that was a requirement for graduation. For your graduating class, while we're going to continue to have to take those tests as a school for a lot of different reasons, that's not the piece that's going to be required for you for graduation. What's going to be required for graduation is this graduation pathways plan. So basically, we need to check off one box under each of these categories. So the first one is basically earn your diploma, get the right number of credits for either the Core 40, the academic, or the tech honors. It doesn't matter which one, okay? So you'll all be in good shape there. The second one is demonstrating employability skills. And this is going to be done either through project-based, service-based, or work-based learning opportunities. And we've actually got a project-based program built into your junior year English class. So if you're not already meeting it with one of these other things, like you have a job or whatever, we're going to make sure everybody has that opportunity in your junior year English class, and it's just part of that class. So that's where we're checking off box 2. Then box 3 is post-secondary ready competencies. And basically this is saying you are ready to go out and do something important with your life once you graduate. Okay, so there are several options here. First one is academic or technical honors diploma. So if you've met the additional requirements to do one of those honors diplomas, that checks that box, you're done. Okay, we've also got minimum ACT and SAT scores. So again, those are those college entrance exams. The fourth one there is a minimum ASVAB score. The ASVAB stands for the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, and basically it is the military entrance exam. We've been given the ASVAB here at Western Boone for several years because there's a really cool career program that goes with it. So once you get your results, it can help tie you to some different careers. But if you score on that test when we're given it anyway, high enough that you would be eligible to enter any branch of the military, that checks this box. Okay? The fifth one down is an industry recognized credential or certification. So again, these are going to be similar to the ones that went with the technical honors diploma. Okay, there's an industry recognized apprenticeships. We don't have a whole lot of opportunities for those in our area, but if that's something that you're really passionate about, we'll work with you on it. The other one that's very common for our students is what is called a CTE concentrator. This is going to be really similar to that career pathway that we talked about with the Tech Honors Diploma. So basically 6 credits in classes that are going to help prepare you for some kind of a career, and you need to get at least a C or better in those. Okay? Then there's also a minimum of a C average in 3 AP or dual credit courses. So we'll talk about that. And then there's some other locally created things that we don't have in place yet here at Western Boone. So there's a lot of different options. And basically, if we're planning ahead, students don't have any trouble meeting these requirements. Okay, so a couple times I've thrown out here AP and dual credit. AP stands for Advanced Placement. And basically what that is you are taking a class here at Western Boone that we say is on a college level, okay? And if at the end of the course you take a nationwide final exam, everybody in the nation who takes an AP class takes the same test on the same day, same time. If you get a high enough score on that test, you are eligible to earn college credits, depending on where you go, and they will decide what kind of college credit they will award to you. The dual credit is another college level opportunity, and the difference there is that in a dual credit class, you are getting credits for your high school class, and you are earning credits in a college class at the same time. Okay, so one is dependent on a test. The other one is largely automatic as long as you pass the class and you meet sometimes some prerequisites. So like an entrance exam, as long as you demonstrate that you're ready to earn credits in that class, you will get those credits. So you can see we've got a lot of them listed up here, and I can show you how to find those in your newspaper too as you're planning forward. Okay. Then we've got a number of CTE, some people refer to them as vocational options, okay? And these are going to be available to you primarily in your junior and your senior year, but we like to tell you about them now because as you're thinking about the courses that you want to take over the next 4 years, these would require you to be out of the building for basically a half day, your junior and or your senior year. So for you to do that and still meet all your graduation requirements, Sometimes you got to plan ahead and maybe put a few extra required classes in your freshman or your sophomore year to make that extra room in your junior and senior year. Okay? So you've got to be on track with your graduation requirements, and we've got different sites available. So the first one that we have is J. Everett Light, and that's located on the north side of Indianapolis, and they've got about 30 different programs over at J. Everett Light. So some of the ones there that are most popular with our students are vet assisting. There are several branches of health careers over there. There's criminal justice, and then, like I said, there's tons of others as well. Then we've got a partnership through, we call it the West Central Co-op, and it is mostly programs in our area, Crawfordsville, Southmont, okay? And so those, again, require you to be out of the building for about a half a day. New, just this past year, we started providing a bus for some of those, which is really helpful in terms of maybe you don't have your driver's license yet, but you really want to be part of one of these programs. For J. Everett Light, you have to drive yourself or you carpool. I mean, a lot of students will get together and they'll all drive together, but you need to have your own transportation. For these, the ones with the little bus icon, we've got a bus that leaves from Western Boone, takes you to your program, and brings you back. So these, there's a cosmetology program, which is at a salon, the Freestyle Salon in Lebanon. There's also health careers. Probably a lot of you know somebody who's done the auto program over at Trivo. There's criminal justice. There's fire and rescue, EMS. There's starting next year, there's going to be a welding program over there. We've got precision machining is located at the Gene Haas Center, which is over in Lebanon, kind of over by the Subway and the Taco Bell. There's a business administration program, which is actually at the Ivy Tech campus in Crawfordsville. And then we just found out yesterday, also at that Ivy Tech campus in Crawfordsville, they're starting next year a new IT and computer science program. So again, lots of different options, but if one of these sounds intriguing to you, you're going to want to think about that in advance. We've also got one here in-house, so radio TV. So as you watch the daily announcements, that's a CTE program that's in our building. So we're going to talk about that here in just a second as well. Okay, so real quickly, scheduling requirements. So as a freshman, everybody's going to take English. Everybody's going to take math. So if you have not taken Algebra 1 this year, you'll take Algebra 1 next year. If you're currently in Honors Algebra 1, typically you're going to go on to Honors Geometry next, but you can talk about that with your math teacher if you're not sure. Okay? Science, you will either take ICP or biology. We typically say if you're a pretty strong science student and want to get to those upper level, college level science classes, you'll probably start with biology. If you're more of science is okay, or it's a little bit harder for you, we usually have you start with ICP, and then you'll take biology as a sophomore. Okay, for social studies, you have choice between geography, which is going to be more maps and places, or world history is going to be more people and dates. It doesn't matter which one of these you take. However, if you are interested in at some point taking AP, so that college level world history, we want you to have this world history first. So if that's something that you want to do, you probably want to make that choice instead of taking geography. And then everybody will take PE as a freshman. So that's going to be 5 periods of your day. So that leaves you 2 periods to choose electives. So if you are looking at an academic honors diploma, we would strongly encourage you to get going on Spanish as a freshman, because you'll need 3 years of that. You may also want to start a fine arts credit and get that done. But if not, you're pretty much wide open to whatever electives you want to take. Okay, and then just sort of thinking forward, 10th grade, you would have English again, math again, science again. In place of PE, you're typically going to have health and preparing for college and careers. You'll see there's not a required social studies in your sophomore year. But that might be where if you wanted to take AP World History, you could pull that in as an elective when you don't have another social studies already. And then other elective options. Again, if you're doing Spanish, we'd want you to continue with that. You may want to do a fine arts credit or jump into hopefully one of the CTE tracks either in our building or to start in our building, so eventually you can be out of our building your junior or your senior year. Okay, so I mentioned Project Lead the Way. So those are those engineering classes. So like I said, if you do 3 of those, you would have the option, that's considered that CTE concentrator, which would count both toward a tech honors diploma, and it would meet that 3rd box when you're talking about graduation pathways. Okay? And then radio TV, I'm going to ask Mr. Foxworthy to talk for a couple minutes about the radio TV program. He's got that 2-hour program juniors and seniors can be part of, but there's also a way you guys can get involved even in your freshman year.
Hey, good morning. I know you have a lot of options coming up next year and in your years to come in high school. I just want to introduce myself to you, and hopefully you don't forget about a great program we have here in the building. Has anybody ever watched maybe a football game online that we've done, WBTV Sports? Yeah, that's awesome. So that is a big part of our class. We've had tremendous success with that over the last couple of years, and we're looking to build on that. You guys would be my next generation to be able to be successful with that. The IHSAA, in fact, is using our program as a model across the state. So there will be lots of opportunities, whether it's actually doing play-by-play, running cameras, and that's just a small part of what we do. We fly drones in the class. We're on air. We're behind the scenes. So, that's a class you could think about as a freshman with the intro class, and then the 2-hour class as a junior and senior. Next year, if you're able to take my class, we're going to shoot a movie. We're going to do some podcasting. We're going to do some radio work as well. You're going to learn all the equipment just in a small slice of the pie. So think about it. A very quick background about me. When I was your age, I did not like school. Personally, I never thought I'd be a teacher, but I knew I needed to get an education, so I went and studied broadcasting. Ended up working in Fox News in Cincinnati for several years, and then when I came to Western Boone, I said, if we're going to do this, let's do it right. And so when you're in my class, you're no longer a student, but you're an employee of a TV station, and that's kind of the way I run the class. So think about it next year. If you have any questions, come on down and see me, but I would love to have you. If not next year, maybe as a junior or a senior. Okay? Thank you. Thanks, Ms. Hill.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the radio TV intro class that you could take either next year or your sophomore year is 1 period of your day. So we talked about the 2 period when you hit junior, senior year. It is a great intro to that, but it's not a requirement. It's not what's called a prerequisite. So a prerequisite is going to be a class you have to have before you can take another one. So it's not required that you take the intro to radio TV, but I always tell students, if you're interested in it, it's a great way to kind of get your feet wet and see if it is for you, because like, as you know, we don't really do a whole lot of schedule changes. And so before you commit to maybe a 2-hour full year program, you might want to get your feet wet with a 1 hour. Is this really what I'm going to enjoy doing? So another one to think about, and this is another one that if you take 6 credits of radio TV, it can work toward a concentrator pathway for the tech honors and your graduation pathways. Okay, so some other additional things I want to throw out there so you kind of have a heads up as you're thinking through the 4 years that you have with us. Lifeguarding. So right now we've got a hole, but next year we'll have a pool again. And so if you are a certified lifeguard, when the PE classes are in there, doing their swimming units, we have to have a certified lifeguard in there. And so if that's something that you are planning to do maybe over the summer, you want to get your lifeguard certification, either this year, next year, or down the line, we hire students to be a lifeguard for one period of a day, and you get a paycheck for the days that you are guarding. So if that's something that interests you, that can be part of your 4-year plan. Information technology support is the fancy name for working at our computer help desk. So if you really enjoy working with computers and want to kind of jump in with that, that would be an option as a student. Typically, we don't have freshmen in there. You're going to be either a sophomore, junior, or senior. But if you've got really strong computer skills, we can have that conversation with you. Okay? We've also got a program called JAG. And that's going to be available. It's a 1 period a day class, and it's kind of an extension of that preparing for college and careers class. So if you really want to jump in and learn about leadership and about resume writing and preparing for life after Western Boone, that would be a good option for you, and that would be available to your junior and senior year. We've got students every year who ask about graduating early. For some students, that means I want to try to graduate in 3 years. I want to be done at the end of my junior year. For some students, that means they graduate in December of their senior year. So there are a lot of ways to make that happen. Sometimes it means doing a little bit of extra work outside of school time to get those credits in. But if that's something that is of interest to you, we want to have that conversation early and make sure that we're mapping out to maximize your time to get you done and on to what it is you want to do if you're wanting to graduate early. Okay? And then online classes. So in the summer, we offer the opportunity for students to take health, government, or econ online. Occasionally we'll do others, but those are standalone 1-semester classes that students tend to be pretty successful with. The way the summer online courses work is they will start about the first week in June, and usually the 3rd or 4th week in July, you will come into Western Boone to take your final. And then everything else is on your own time. So if you're thinking about that to make room in your schedule, that is a possibility. Know that you're going to have access to some pretty reliable internet for that whole time. It doesn't mean you can't go on vacation or take a little bit of time off, but they are going to have requirements. So they may say by June 15th, you need to have so many lessons done, and by June 30th, you need to have so many done. So you can work ahead, and then maybe if you're going to take a vacation or be away at camp or whatever it is and aren't going to have good access, as long as you've planned ahead for that, you will be fine. So if that's something that as you're planning out your 4 years is important to you and would be helpful to you to get in all of the classes that you want to take and that are important to you, talk to us about that too, and we can kind of help you map that out. Okay, so now using your curriculum guide. So that's your little newspaper that you have. So if you want to take a second and flip that open, if you go to page 9 or 10. Okay, what you're going to see on this chart, I call this kind of Weibo at a glance. And this is going to be sort of the quick list of all of the classes and who they are available to. So you're going to see a column with grade level. So if it says, 9 through 12, it's available to freshmen. If it says 10 through 12, maybe it's only available to sophomores on up. So that'll give you a clue for where you should expect to fall in that. You're also going to see a column called prerequisites. Who remembers what prerequisites are? Yeah, so it's a class, you need to have another class before you're able to take that class. So, for example, if you want to take agribusiness management, great class, but you really need to have intro to ag before you do that in order to kind of help you be successful. So it's going to, if it says prerequisites yes, then you're going to know there's a class you need to take before that. Okay? It will tell you if there is dual credit availability. So the column that says DC is either going to say yes or no. Okay? Remember that AP is different than dual credit. So if it's an AP class, it's going to say that right in the title. It'll say AP Biology or AP Chemistry or whatever it is. If it's dual credit, it's going to have a yes in that column. Okay? And then the last one there is quantitative reasoning courses. So you'll see a column that says Q at the top. And that is, remember when I was talking about math, one of the requirements is that you have either a math or a quantitative reasoning class in your schedule every year. So as you are planning out your 4 years, if you don't want to take something specifically in the math department, say your senior year, you've got other things you are wanting to do, then at least one class on your senior year schedule has to have that little Q by it. So a lot of the CTE programs that are off-site, maybe the second year of those would count as a quantitative reasoning class. For some of you, you might take government and econ as a senior. Econ is one of those quantitative reasoning classes. Maybe you're going to take personal financial responsibility, which is a class here in the building that talks about car loans and credit card debt and all of those things. That would be a quantitative reasoning class. Okay? Then your course descriptions, it's going to list in there specific pages that then you can go and read more. So it'll tell you what the prerequisites are if there was a yes in that column. It'll tell you what the dual credits are if there's a yes in that column. And you can read a little bit more about what the class is. Then on the inside back cover is that graduation pathways chart again. So as you're thinking about having to check those boxes for graduation, that's there. And then on the back cover is the list of 8 credits in English, 6 credits in math, and all of that, so you can think about that. Okay, real quickly, your blue sheet that you've been in the habit of filling out every year, you sign it, your parents sign it, and it comes back to us by January 21st. So you've got a couple of weeks to do that. Okay, then we'll sit down with you individually. If you have questions or blank spots on it, it's okay. Bring it back to us, and when we sit down one-on-one, we'll go through that with you. Okay? Hopefully, right before we leave for spring break, we're going to be able to give you a copy of your schedule for next year. And then you can look at that, and by April 17th, you're going to need to make in writing on that sheet we give to you before spring break. This is what I want to change, because then after that, we're going to pretty much lock in our schedules for next year, so we know how many people in every class and can order books and everything that we need. Okay? If your parents want to come to your scheduling meeting with you, when we meet with you one-on-one and kind of talk through everything, just have them make a note at the bottom of that sheet, and then we'll give them a call and we'll schedule a time with them that way. Okay? Lastly, as 8th graders, the 21st Century Scholars Program is a program that offers free college tuition if you are eligible. It's based on your income, but you have to enroll either as a 7th or an 8th grader. So if you aren't in that and you think you might meet like the free and reduced lunch criteria, you need to see Mr. Pelly and let him check and see if you are enrolled. And if you're not enrolled, you need to get enrolled in 8th grade so that you're eligible for that program. Okay? You guys have been awesome. We're going to get you on your way. Remember, the blue sheets come back to us with your parent's signature by the 21st of January. Have a great day.